Welcome back. We're talking about assimilation. Assimilation is a big word, but it basically means the process of getting a person to a place from the time they find out about your church, from the time they got invited, all the way to coming to your church on Sunday morning or Saturday evening or whenever, and getting into the church, enjoying the service, getting connected with the people, and joining a small group. From the time that they hear about you, to the point that they make your church their church, that's assimilation. This is a very important process, and I don't think we think enough about it. Let me tell you a few things I've been learning, because our church is Covenant Life, and we've just planted our church 2 years ago, and we're growing in two different places, in Noida and in Delhi. And it's very important to us about how people hear about our church, what they hear about our church, what they experience when they first come, and how they decide, the process, the things that make them decide to stay in our church. These are very important to me, very important to church health, because it's important to make a right impression. Everybody wants to do that, and you're not trying to impress them into staying in your church, but you do want to know how they feel. You do want to experience or at least assess their experience of how they feel. Now, I don't know how your church is set up, but the way our church is set up is we are in a home kind of place where it's in the basement. There's a very large basement in one of our locations. In another location, we're in a school. So we've got two different very interesting situations. But what is important is there is a driveway. So as soon as people come, right at the gate itself, not only is it the correct address, but we put a big standee outside and a big poster that says this is our church. We got the name of the church, the Covenant logo, so that everybody knows that we are there. In our case, it's a driveway in one of the venues. So as people walk through, we've put some signboards that say welcome. We've put a planter. We've actually built a wooden box with some plants and a big welcome sign. And if you go to my website, our church's website, you'll see that there. And that's just a little bit to add to the feel, to add to the welcome, so that these guys thought about it. They thought about my coming. They prepared for my coming. So we put that. Cleanliness is another thing. Is your church clean as you walk in? Do you go to the bathrooms when you're walking down into through the corridors? Or is it only that the main church hall, the sanctuary, is clean, and everything along that, the steps, the carpet, everything else is filthy? It's a real put off, especially for people coming there for the first time. Some people have big funding and they're able to go into 5-star hotels. I think they do that because they don't want to do the work themselves, and they don't want to clean the place themselves. They want everything ready and done for them. If you can do that, great. But in most cases, that's not the Indian church. That's not the South Asian church. A South Asian church is everybody on the floor or in a small hall, and people want to be able to connect with a lifestyle that's not too much higher than their own home, if you know what I mean. They don't want to be going to a 5-star hotel. They don't want to be going to a temple either. They don't want to go to a religious place, but they also don't want to go to something so fancy that it doesn't feel like a spiritual place. A spiritual place in our Eastern mindset does have a sense of calmness, emptiness. It's not too much pizzazz, not too much structure, but that nonetheless. So think about that. I've been thinking about that, and I think it's very important to give attention to cleanliness. How much is around, how many facilities, at least convenient facilities, should be there. Take even, for instance, temperature. When you walk into the church, is it too warm? Is it too cold? What is the feel as you walk into the church? For us, we were struggling with air conditioning, and we were struggling with it was too hot, too warm. And as people came and sat down, it got too warm. So we've been working on the air conditioning so that it gets a little cooler. When you're living in my city, in Delhi, air conditioning is not a luxury. It is and when you pack 100, 200 people into one hall, it is definitely not a luxury. You need to think about that. For that. What about lighting? Is your church dark as you walk in? Is one tube light having issues and blinking? Does it look like there wasn't much attention given to that? We're looking at lighting as well, all the way from the time they get out of the car or get off the bus or whatever, all the way to the point they hit their seat. We want them to see everything. We want to see everyone. It should be bright. It should be exciting. It should be happy. It should be happy. So we want that whole experience from gate to seat. Have a look at this. that from the time they walk in that gate all the way to the time that they sit down, we want that experience to be one that they will value, one that they will appreciate, where some thought has been given to that. As they walk in, after they've seen the welcome and felt the cleanliness and hopefully, felt like they are in the right place, they also want to meet the right people. So we want to put the right people there. The people who have a smiley face, people who are welcoming, warm, don't look threatening, don't look judgmental and condemning, people who are ready to face any new type of people who come in. And as people walk in, especially those who are making it to the church for the very first time, they have never been to church before, or they've had a bad experience with churches. It's so important that that first connect is with somebody who really cares. Those people welcome them, they shake their hands, they have a quick conversation, just enough to say, we'd love to have you at our service, we're so glad you made it, we so, appreciate the effort, appreciate that they came. Don't look at your watch, don't decide that they've come late or that they don't belong there. That it's important to have the right people to connect with them. People don't like to be acknowledged in public, they like to be acknowledged in private. So they do want to be acknowledged, but not in public, in private. So we don't embarrass anybody in our services by making new people stand up and bringing attention to others. Or when somebody hasn't come for a long time, suddenly you're like, oh, look, you're back, we really missed you. No, that's not genuine. We know that you didn't miss them. We know that you're just trying to make a scene of them. That's just not loving. What we try to do is we welcome people broadly. If you ever watch my live, you'll pick up what I do from the pulpit. But in private, we acknowledge them. What is your name? Excuse me. We acknowledge them in private. We say, what is your name? How was your week? And just a few things, get a little bit of information. Do you have children? How are they doing? Is everyone keeping well? Something to show some love and concern in that sense, I think that's very, very important. So acknowledge them in private. When people are coming new to your church, what we decided to do was we decided to put signs that say the bathroom is this way, the children's ministry is this way, the youth ministry is this way, or the snacks is this way. And when people come in, they don't know where everything is. You don't want them looking around, waiting, asking questions, and it's embarrassing before the service when you're already late to say, can I go to the toilet? Where is the toilet? Just have signs so that people can quickly go, quickly come out. There must be mirrors in the bathroom because people have come from long distances. They just want to quickly feel, it's their first time, they want to feel like they're presentable. Have a good bathroom with good lighting, and of course it should be clean. Let's talk about seating. As you get them to their seat, do you plan where they can sit? You don't want them right up in front, they'll feel embarrassed. You don't want them right in the back because they'll feel like they're not important. Have you kept seats for your guests? Have you made sure that you thought through the process so that some seats are kept if people come for the first time, or if some of the members of your church bring new people, they are able to take them straight to the seats that were kept for them and then sit with them so that they don't feel abandoned. It's very important to have the right seating as well. One more thing I would add is just, when you're sitting and waiting for the service to start, it's a little awkward, If the service has already begun, then you're okay, but if the service hasn't begun, it's a little awkward. So to create that ambience, you play a little bit of music. If the worship team is already playing, that's good, but they shouldn't be tuning at that time. That is just, they shouldn't be testing the sound and yelling and screaming and creating a ruckus. There needs to be calm, there needs to be ambient music playing, just to kind of think. So people even can feel free to stop, sit down, bend, lower their heads, be quiet, give them something to read. Give them something to read, maybe even the brochure or anything will just allow them to just calm down so that they are not overcome by their fears of being in a new place. So we play some music. And last but not least, we also give them a connection card because we do want their information. We do want them to connect with us. We do want to follow up with them, but we don't want to embarrass them. So we give them a card, giving them the freedom to tick whatever they want to tick, whatever they want to tell us. And even like my first impressions, a prayer request. We have all of that, and basically we allow for them to do that, and they drop it into the offering bag or they leave it with one of the ushers on the way out. This gate to seat business is very important. Please think about it. You know, if you've been a church where you've got the same 40 people coming for 40 years and you don't have another visitor coming in, that's your thing. We're not talking about that. We're talking about a church that's aggressively calling new people, bringing new people, and you're trying to grow, you want to grow, and you want to reach the world for Christ. If you're doing that, and this is what you're serious about, then you do need to consider some of these things. I've been doing it, and I've seen some success in some things, so I'm sharing these things because they're very, very important. There are other things that may be important for your church, but you've got to think about, what is it? Apply love, apply strategy, apply thought, common sense, and you'll get it as well. Let's grow our church with common sense. Let's make our church gatherings a place people want to keep coming back to, you know, and then they see themselves doing the things that others did when they welcomed them. Even that's a big thing. We'll talk about that later. We'll see you soon. So stay tuned for the next video. Like, subscribe, do what you need to do to make sure that the notifications come. Click that little bell thing, and we'll be in your inbox soon. God bless you.